Jack of all trades, master of none. You've probably heard this phrase before. It refers to people that are pretty good at a lot of things, but not necessarily great at any one thing. These kinds of people are sometimes called generalists as opposed to specialists. I think this really applies to me because I can pick up the basics of things really well if it's explained to me. But there are two main things that keep me from really being a specialist at anything. Firstly, I have kind of bad muscle coordination and motor skills, so this rules out pretty much every sport. I mean, I used to play basketball and I was pretty good at it. I started for my junior high school team, but I was mainly good at blocking and rebounding and not necessarily dribbling or shooting. Then I got to high school and topped out at about 5'11", which is not tall enough in high school to be a blocker or rebounder, and thus ended my basketball career. The second reason that I'm unable to be a specialist at anything is, well, I'm lazy, unmotivated, and unfocused. I hate practicing things, so I usually never get any better than I was initially. A good example of this is the fact that I started playing guitar in 7th grade, and in fact I own 3 guitars, but I don't know how to play guitar. I'm also unfocused. I can't keep my mind on one thing for too long. Like one day I want to be a web designer, the next day I want to be a musician, the next day I want to be an artist, so I never spend enough time on one thing to really get good at it. So I started thinking, what am I good at? And I don't mean just like everyday common good. I mean like if I entered a contest at this thing, I would do pretty well. Like maybe not win necessarily, but I would show up. Well, I've always considered myself a pretty good creative writer when I put my mind to it, but again, I'm lazy, so I rarely ever put my mind to it. About a year ago, I got a poem published in an online literary journal as well as the undergrad journal for the University of Alabama, so I guess some people like my writing. I'm pretty good at Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I'm actually kind of hardcore about that game, like I travel to tournaments and stuff. I've never gotten first place at a local tournament, but I have gotten second and third and fourth and fifth a bunch of times. I could probably beat you at that game. This is really random, but I am amazing at Taboo. If you don't know what Taboo is, it's a party game, kind of like Trivial Pursuit or Pictionary, where you have to try to get your teammates to guess a word. Catch is, on each card, there's a list of words that you can't use when describing the word. These are the taboo words. That's where the name comes from. So for example, if the word's Christmas, you have to get your team to guess that word without saying Santa Claus, tree, holiday. You get the idea. Also, you can't use sounds or gestures, so it's a lot more difficult than it seems. Every team that I've been on every time that I've played this game has won. I've honestly researched to see if there were any Taboo tournaments in my area, because I honestly think that I would wreck shit. The problem with a game like Taboo, though, is people can just memorize the cards. For example, here's a tip for the next time you play Taboo that I learned it just from playing the game so much. Unless they've got new versions where they've added more cards, there are only 3 cards where the word that you have to guess is the title of a movie. Alien, Citizen Kane, and Blade. So the next time that you have to guess the title of a movie, you could just shout off those 3. Another problem with hosting Taboo tournaments is I'm pretty sure the makers of the game really sat down to figure out what the absolute best taboo words are. And in order for a tournament to work without people memorizing cards, you'd have to make up your own cards. And it'd be really hard to come up with the best taboo words, and that could lead to a lot of confusion and discrepancy and debate probably. But if you guys find out about any taboo tournaments, please tell me. So YouTube, what are your talents? I mean, like, what are you really, really good at? It can be anything. Maybe you're good at tennis, or playing the banjo, or flipping a pen through your fingers, or napkin origami. Whatever it is, let me know in the comments. I'm quite interested to know. Holla.